Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, welcome to another week, another episode of the Medicine Ball Podcast. You could have chosen to spend your time anywhere. You rock with me today. Thank you. I never take that lightly. Before we get into it, let my beat drop. Yes, that's right. Welcome to Medicine Ball with your boy LS3 to be exact. And if you ain't in shape, at least your brain should be. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Medicine Ball Podcast, where we focus on giving your brain a six-pack by exercising your mind. Now, exercising your mind means that you actively think about and deal with all situations by first seeking to do anything other than what you are normally programmed and or comfortable in doing. Now, if you're someone who struggles and wants to get better at thinking about things beforehand, as opposed to reacting in ways that require less effort, well, just like anything you want to get better at, it does require training, practice, and work. Now, I'm well aware that thinking about things beforehand as opposed to responding off instinct does require effort. And who doesn't prefer things that are easy? Well, the first step, my friends, can be very easy, and that's to begin to look at all things from an unbiased point of view, which in itself will increase your curiosity in life. Now, exercising your mind won't give you all the answers. You will, however, begin to look at things with more peace, understanding, and patience, while simultaneously equipping yourself with more tools and strategies to help you effectively deal with this thing called life. Now, before we go any further, I'm no doctor, no psychiatrist, no psychologist. I have, however, been diagnosed with bipolar disorder level 1 for 16 years. And to be honest, I got to a point in my life where I was looking at the person I was becoming versus the person I wanted to be. And that, among other things, required me to look at my mental health responsibly. So whether or not you're diagnosed or know someone who's diagnosed or have symptoms or just want to know more about it, it doesn't matter. Maybe you're one of the many people who could just use some tips, tricks, and different ideas to help you get through day-to-day life. Pull up a seat, kick up your feet. This is your family, man. Welcome home, no judgment zone. This week's episode 417. What a man. That's right, episode 417. What a man. Let's go. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, to another week, another episode of the Medicine Ball Podcast. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Let's get right into it, man. A couple of announcements for y'all real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, merchandise is back. And after many tedious hours just dealing with the marketplace, going about the best way to get my product out there so that when it is ordered, I'm actually back ordered, thanks to y'all. Shout out to y'all. I can get it to you guys efficiently, quickly, and seamlessly. So go check that out right now. You could go check it out on my Instagram, Medicine Ball LS3. That's right, Medicine Ball LS3. The website, www.medicineballls3.com. Facebook, the Medicine Ball group, the Medicine Ball page. I might even throw it on my man Mamba's page. Y'all go follow Mamba's page. I think he's up to like 300 followers. And that is that guy Mamba. That's right. So that's up and running. Website up and running. Man, I've been looking at my stats. I'm humbled. That's all I can say, man. Because I don't know. I'm just trying to be aware of where I'm at and the growth and the progress that it has taken to get here and what I've been able to do thus far. So I'm humbled at the analytics on that, but continue to check out the website, which has been updated for about a month now. I appreciate y'all on that. YouTube, right? So I know I've been coming along with this YouTube, but if you've been following me since the beginning, continue to rock with me. Y'all know I will get it together. So I think so far I have like an episode I did with Mila, who's about to come back, I think, within the next 2 weeks. Hint, hint. And my old intro. Now, I've created my new intro, and a part of it is me wanting to be perfect, which I know isn't right, but that's just the creative part of me. But it's just, at this point, I'm being pushed in other ways. I'm seeing how God's giving me other opportunities are going to push me to go ahead and put that out. So I do have the official intros that's going to go at the beginning of my video, which I watch YouTube all the time. And it's just like the little stuff we don't think about. Even when we go and look on a website and click on an item that has a picture and it goes to a site, there's stuff that goes on behind the scenes with that. So I appreciate y'all. Continue to rock with me. It's coming. It's going to continue to come. My goal is to at least get the intro up and something that's relevant to our topic, being a man, right? Hint, hint, this week while it's relevant. So I appreciate y'all rocking with me on that. Y'all continue to like, subscribe, and share. Subscribe to the Medicine Ball newsletter and kind of the things that I have going with the website. I just updated the newsletter to be, kind of uniform when it comes to my brand colors and the things that I'm saying. Like I said, very tedious. Not complaining because I prayed for it, but I just ask for all of you to continue to be patient with me because I take this very serious. And if anybody is committing any of their timoleons, that's right, I explained that in an earlier episode, but any of your time to just even clicking on me, I want to make sure that I'm providing content and continuing to update it. With all of that said, ladies and gentlemen, man, let's just get right into this episode 417. What a man. Now, when I first heard this idea, it was maybe about 2 months ago, and I'm not even gonna lie, I got it from my pastor who was doing a sermon in relation to Joseph and the kind of man he had to be when Mary had this immaculate conception, or was being told by an angel that even though she's a virgin, she's gonna be pregnant, right? And Joseph had to hold it down because the Torah laws, etc., etc., he was within his rights, earthly rights, to divorce her or do worse. But I really build off of that kind of idea and topic. So when I made this episode title, I was like, man, it's really a triple entendre, right? Because it could be an exclamation. What a man, what a man, what a man, what a mighty good man. I think that's in vogue. Shout out to them, showing my age. It could be a question. What? A man? Right? Andre 3000, shout out to him. I remember he had this song, Behold a lady. And I feel like in our society, it could be like a question like, what? A man? And then it can also be kind of, and so that would be kind of like a rarity or a shock. And then it can also be a question like, what a man? Like caveman tactics. What a man? What man? Right? And man, we just gonna get right into it, man. I was diligent with this topic before I got into it. I tried to avoid doing anything that might be too controversial or even possibly alienate anybody, but it's relevant. Rest in peace, first of all, to anybody who loses a life, and blessings to their family, regardless of who that person was. And if you're a believer, rest in peace to Hitler's family. You feel me? Kevin Samuels just passed, right? And this is somebody who I, behind the scenes, have been talking to my female friends about quite a lot for a while. And I was late on the wave, and it kind of aligns with who I am, right? If I'm trying to be a righteous man, a good man, which we're going to get into, I wouldn't necessarily be out searching for that kind of stuff. And to be honest with you, it wasn't even in my algorithm until somebody else had said something to me about it, or I came across them by accident, even though I was seeing it on social media and whatnot. Where I am with my life and the, example I'm trying to lead, right? It just isn't within me to be in the middle of all that mess. So I see it on Facebook, but it's like I don't even like really take it in, right? But I have been talking to once I did hear about him and find out about him, to some of my female friends are behind the scenes about him. And I want to preface this by saying first, for those of you guys who don't know me, I have 4 older sisters. Great women, right? I've named their professions before, regardless. I have 7 nieces. One is about to graduate. Well, I ain't gonna put her out there, but she's about to graduate. She has a business. The other one has a successful podcast, Black Millennial podcast. And then I have 3 grandnieces. The women who are in my life and I have like a relationship with, where I can have these kind of like, male versus female conversations with, I could be a little bit more blunt with them because they understand me and where I'm coming from. And that way, if I make a statement, they're not likely to get offended because they understand that I'm coming from some place of intellect, pure intellect. And I have respect for them to not, even if I felt a certain type of way about Kevin Samuels, right? Well, I'm not going to say that. Some of them I'm tight with and I can tell them, how I feel. But I'm just going to cut to the chase, man. The lack of appreciation for a human life. And all I could think about is like, because I'm into the hip hop scene, reasonably, whatever. And I hear a lot of people make references to Chicago and the deaths and murders there and how they have a lack for human life, right? This Kevin Samuels passing showed me a lot of lack of human life. I see people on social media, women who I respect, I know they are very intelligent, who are making comments that I know are just purely emotional, right? And I'm seeing friendships break up, right? I'm seeing people get unfollowed. I'm seeing people fight and bicker all online over this. And this is, shout out to Wisdom. Go follow me on Wisdom, the Wisdom app. But I was just talking about this recently about like dating right now. And if you're an intellectual person, what it looks like. So let's get into this what a man thing, right? So Kevin Samuels, for those of you who don't know, which I'm sure everybody knows if you're like between the ages of 20 and 45, African American, and listen to any type of hip hop, you know who Kevin Samuels is. He's a guy who was brutally honest. Now, I want to preface before I even start talking about what a man and Kevin Samuels specifically, I want to preface it by saying this. Me personally, I don't feel like a man should probably be speaking to a woman like that, period. It don't matter the race. It don't matter the situation, right? But that's just me. I also understand, though, with me being somebody who's been in music production and been privy to be behind the scenes and like, I don't even want to name drop, right? But I've just seen people, I'll use one name drop, Stevie J. I haven't seen a lot of love in hip hop, but I see what people have said and say about Stevie J. I've met Stevie J personally and been to his house. And one thing I could tell you about him that I saw, he's a humble guy. He's a good father who just happens to be in a business contract that the people, the sheep, which is a majority of us, don't understand. I myself have been in situations where I know like some of these relationships be scripted. Like if you see two celebrity artists together, 9 times out of 10, they date a regular person who's on an NDA, and so they can't say nothing about it. I have been in a situation where I was dating a particular young lady who publicly was dating Lloyd Banks. Saw Lloyd Banks one time, right? And I ain't gonna get into that. So all of this about this Kevin Samuels thing is, and perception is, again, I don't think a man should speak to a woman like that, right? But I also understand that, well, a couple of things, business aspect. Number one, what's the difference between him and people who do these jokes like, hey, selling fake crack in the hood? Or Tekashi 6ix9ine. Or I give you another one. I think his name is Jesse. I don't know. He's a black guy who like is really would appear to be against black people, right? He has a YouTube show that's hilarious, which I think is satire. But all of this stuff drives views. See, I understand that money is a tool, but as we go deeper into the future, what's more valuable than money is intention. So it's like your attention span, like that we always talk about, that's valuable to people and companies and they monetize it, right? So you have to do things to gain attention in order to make money, right? So I'm open to the fact, one thing I can say for sure about Kevin Samuels, and I don't even follow, like I watched his videos and I'm gonna be quite blunt with y'all. A lot of the stuff he was saying was true and I agree with. Now, I don't always agree with his delivery and his approach, but some of that stuff, I was like, yo, he right. But again, perception and what a real man is, I would never express that. Now, to my friends in the proper environment, I'm like, yo, he damn, you feel what I'm saying? And I'm not going to get into that. I will hop on Wisdom tonight, right? Or I will hop on Wisdom within the next 24 hours and we can get into the things that he said and we can do it in a respectful way. Right? Because all of this can be proved. If it's this whole thing about women not being able to get the men they want, let's just look at facts. You show me these men who fit these criteria, show me who they're bringing out publicly, just show me them with these women who are these certain criteria. But I'll rest my case, right? I know for sure that at least 2 of the conversations I seen with Kevin Samuels had a young lady in it who's frequented on another YouTuber show whose name is Bosco as a chick who's just like a troll who talks trash. He was on his show twice. 2 viral clips. It's a chick with a shower cap on, if y'all seen it, and she's talking about, I got 3 kids, all my baby daddies gangbang, and I'm on like, I don't know, food stamps or something. But you can go find this clip out here. She is a known troll. So that right there was definitely scripted, right? Here's the other thing I just asked for women to take into consideration. I'm not saying he's right. I don't worship him. I don't agree with his values, and I'm going to get into my stuff. Kevin Samuels, I never seen him promote himself as a dating guru or a relationship expert or any of that. I've seen him promote himself as like a fashion expert, right? And the women that he talks to on every single one of his little skits, every single one of those women called in, waited online for hours to ask him for his advice. So let's just be real. They're asking him for his advice. And some of the videos, they're like, yo, just keep it real with me. Go ahead. Let me have it. Right. And he's doing that. And all of this bashing and stuff comes into place. Now, I'm going to wrap it up with this before I get into kind of the show. Kevin Samuels was irresponsible from the point of view that he may have not realized whether he was trolling, whether he was doing this for a check, or the fact of the matter was people were calling him and asking him for his advice. He was reckless with his information because he didn't go into the understanding of maybe what a man's value should be, or like, hey, maybe men shouldn't talk to women like that, or hey, you shouldn't worship this idea of being a high value man, or hey, you shouldn't put down. He was too reckless with his information. He gave a lot of like blunt truth, but he didn't preface it. He didn't filter it. So I can understand where women are mad, like, oh, y'all men worship him, but let's get right into it. What a man, or what is a man? So I'm not even going to deflect. I'm not sticking up for Kevin Samuels and all that. I want to get into the deeper root cause. What is a man? So when I started thinking about this, like, I knew that I was going to piggyback it off of this Kevin Samuels thing and kind of dating and everything. So I wanted to be real careful with how I went about it. And I wanted to incorporate my personal morals and beliefs, my values, plus a little bit of what like women ask for and what I see like on social media, right? So here's the problem. From what I can see, I broke it down, and they're going to all start with S, into 3 categories in which people kind of place and use to judge or base what a man is on. All right? The first category is socially. And when it comes to socially, what I mean is like what a majority say or what the world tells you, right? So let's just talk about some basics within the social, right? Because we got to remember, socially is all opinionated. It varies. And a majority of the time it's a singular view because it's hard for people to look outside of themselves in their own situation. So most people will agree that a good man or father is somebody who takes care of their business and handles their responsibility, whether it be financially with the job, right? If you have kids, somebody who's involved with their kids' life and responsible from that aspect. If you have a wife, or even if you're dating, somebody who's a protector, right? And if you're from my era, old school, somebody who's the breadwinner, right? And a solid, firm person. Socially, that's some of kind of the things that most people can agree on. Now, outside of that, most social people will tell you somebody who has to be financially sound. Now, they don't really put a number on that, but from what I'm gathering, it's like at least $100,000 or a 6-figure income, right? Now, we're not talking about what's realistic or ideal. We're talking about what most people desire, right? Or what most women desire, or what most people say a good man should be. Some of the smaller things, which are still financial, is handling a majority of the bills, not having to split bills with them. Somebody who takes care of all. It's a lot of financial responsibilities from what I see and what I gather. But morally, handle your business, protect, provide, so forth and so on. That's social. I was very careful about what I said socially. So if you need to pause this and go back and rewind, but I'm very specific about that, and most people will agree. Next, it seems like a society is the scientific definition, right? I'm not even about to play with no gender. I'm gonna use. I went and looked up on like scientifically the difference, and the first thing that I want to point out is like male and man and woman, right, is something that's just specific to the human species or the humanoid species, right? When it comes to nature and science, it's male and female, right? In science, if we're going to talk about man and woman, it's simple. Males have an X and Y chromosome. Females have, I think, all X's. I don't know, but I just know that males have one of each, females all of one, right? The other thing that I looked up, and this is for real, whether you're talking about plants and everything, right? I'm trying to be funny, but like something that can reproduce or fertilize with sperm, right? This is science. I'm telling y'all science, right? I'm not going any deeper than that. I'll leave that where it is, but Scientifically, 3 S's. The third S, and the third S itself was a stretch. Because even with all this Kevin Samuels talk, dating shows, surveys, or if you just go online, what do you want for a man? And this is most likely because of my spiritual growth in my walk. Thirdly is spiritually, right? Which in itself is loaded, but first of all, it's kind of like if you've already had sex, like what kind of spiritually are you talking about, right? If you've already had premarital sex, right? But outside of that, it's like I want them to be faithful to me. Or African American women will say this: I want a God-fearing man, which I'm willing to say any like not nothing like African or anything like that. But if you're just a black person from America and grew up like, especially in the South, I'm pretty sure if you're a man, you're going to say you're God-fearing, right? And that be the extent of it. So even in this Kevin Samuels thing, I'm seeing a whole bunch of social opinions, a whole bunch of scientific opinions, because people, I don't even know how it got to gender. Oh yeah, okay, so I do know. And ladies, I'm just gonna keep it real. I've said this before, and we can just use science, but like women are more emotional than men. And I don't know. I started seeing women like, and they've been doing it the whole time, attacking his sexuality, which I kind of think nowadays, especially in the African American community, is used to insult black men, right? It's like if they don't know nothing else to say, they're gonna take a shot at your sexuality, right? But even piggybacking more off of what I just said about the emotion, and this is Kevin Samuels too, a real man. And he knew this. I could tell by the way he was dealing with some of those calls was real. He knew this. And people don't give him credit for that. But it's like, bro, once you, and this is life, the truth hurts. People almost rather you say a lie about them than to tell them a truth about themselves that they don't want. But you got to understand, you can't be dealing with an emotional species, which is a woman, right? Say stuff like that he would say to trigger them and then expect for them to continue to be logical. It just don't work like that. I'm just gonna keep it real. Like you cannot trigger a woman and take a logical, and that's exactly like root cause. That's what was happening in these conversations. And I'm not even going to say it's Kevin's fault, but it was like he would just try to be logical. And these women would keep taking it back to emotions like, I feel this, with your emotions, right? Them ain't facts. And eventually he would just get tired of it because they would say something like entitled, and he would say something to trigger them. And now once you do that, all jugs are up. All bets are up. They shut down. Women are shut down. They get defensive. They're not going to hear what you have to say. They're going to band together, right? And it's a wrap, right? But even with that, like I seen a lot of people attacking his sexuality and, you know, and I'm going to build on this, but it's just like, it's a human life. Like his kids, his nephews, his family has to get on. Like imagine somebody in your family who just passed from COVID. And somebody who doesn't even know them personally goes and be like, yo, I'm glad that person's dead. Thank God. You see how God work? And that'd be the worst. That really irks me when people bring God into it. See, God don't like ugly. Oblivious. But I'm going to build on this. With those same S's. When it comes to how people judge men. And I'm going to throw my spin on what I think a man should be. Right? So that's what most people think. I'm going to throw you my spin on it using those same S's, but I'm going to tell you the first problem. Y'all already know. First thing I'm going to do, this a bar too, because this is how Jesus lived. Let's flip this kingdom upside down and put spirituality first. Because that's the root cause problem on both sides, especially for people who pray every day. It wasn't until like within the last year that I realized, oh, that's why God say don't have sex before marriage. Because sex has emotions involved and spiritual ties involved. On top of that, once you have sex, now there's a comparison. So now when you get with your spouse that you marry, you're supposed to be with, sex can be a problem because you've had sex before marriage versus waiting until you marry, you don't know what to compare it to. You could get married with somebody and both of y'all ain't had sex. Y'all could have the worst sex ever. We'll never know. And that would not be a reason for y'all to break up. Little stuff like that. Spirituality is there, but it's passive. The same way that most people who want to pray and look for deliverance and look for, God's blessings, the same way that they go about their spiritual life is the same way that they go about spiritually judging their mate. Spirituality got to be first. Because, and I'm not going to get too deep into it on this show, but the Bible is just a hack to life. When you just get to the root cause and stop getting distracted about who wrote what and what's this part mean and just look at the good stuff, it makes sense. It makes sense. So let's build on this spirituality. I'm going to hit these 3 topics and 3 points, and I'm going to wrap it up for y'all. So the first things first, even with me saying let's flip it on the top and make spirituality first when we're looking for mates, or specifically when it comes to a man, you need a good role model. And I could go so deep on this, but it's just like, I was just talking to my female friends about this, like, we're going to have to do a show on it because I know once I say it, it's going to get hot. I personally just feel that men are better judges of character than women. Because sometimes these women look for men, but they don't really know what a man is because maybe they didn't have a role model, or the person that they want to be a man didn't have a role model. So that's flag number 1. Follow me with this. Most men, I feel like, will be in their daughters' lives. So what the problem is, you have these women who've had a good male role model in their life, seeking that good role model from somebody who didn't have that in their life. How can somebody be a man if they don't have initiative to want to go out and be better and be a man, which is rare? You're going to think you a man just by your age or your money or your income. But if you say a blessing to eat your food, you should be going by some spiritual guidance, right? So check where I'm going. Role model as a man, first of all. Second of all, if you're looking at the Bible spiritually, Jesus is the role model for us to live. And the first thing is being obedient. Like what Jesus says is a good child to their father is somebody who is obedient to their father or listens to their father. So if we're talking about God and spiritually, you follow his guidance. Now from there, because that was just like a bonus point, I went into 3 Proverbs. I could have went all around the Bible, but y'all know I think Proverbs ain't nothing but bars. And I'm going to give y'all 3 spiritual examples of what I found in Proverbs of things that I think makes a man to start and what I go by. The first one is Proverbs 1:7, and I'm paraphrasing these. And that is, first things first, wisdom starts with the fear of the Lord. You know what I just said, God, fear, and woman. Okay, we on the same account. We there, right there, right? The second spiritual one that I found is Proverbs 1:5, which is, a wise man will hear and incline to the learning and obtain unto wise counsel. Basically, a wise man will seek a wise example or wise people around him to give him wise yet righteous ways to go about living life. Right? And the third and final one is Proverbs 10:11. And the mouth of a righteous man is the well of life. But violence will cover the mouth of the wicked. So let me paraphrase that for you. Somebody who's righteous or a good man speaks life into people, Kevin Samuels. That's what water is. Water is the key to life. So if it's saying that a righteous man speaks, right, the well of life into people, you speaking life into people, you uplifting them. And piggybacking that, even as a father, I feel like, and I know most people might not agree, but I feel like you should always encourage, right? Never criticize. If possible, within reason. Let's focus on encouragement and not criticism. So we have to understand that if we're not looking as a man for a man from a spiritual foundation, if you're a believer, you already barking up the wrong tree. All right, that was Proverbs 1. Say, y'all can go back and rewind it, man. Them is bars. That's what I agree with. Those are the ones I found, and that's what I try to live my life by daily. Number 2, because I flipped them upside down, scientifically. Right? Scientifically, I feel like this. Let's go from man and go to male. When I think about a man, I think about a lion, respectfully. Right? Because we're talking realistic here. And the reason I'm using that is because nature is the closest I'm going to science. I'm not going to get too deep in it. I'm just throwing it out to make it relative. They always crack jokes about how the lion doesn't hunt. He don't get no food. He's lazy. And heck, I ain't even gonna lie. I've seen more than enough National Geographic, and just nature shows where it just be little snippets where it seemed like the male lion would be getting punked out by the females, right? But one thing I know for sure, when it is his time to get involved, it's life or death every time. Because the male lion only gets involved when another male comes in to take his pride. And you know what those other males do? Not only do they take the pride, they kill off the children of the previous male to ensure that their genes are passed along. And I feel like a man should embody a lion. Now, I could go further with this on the spiritual thing because God got the Holy Spirit going right now because, they call it the Lion of Judah, right? But we ain't going to go there. But I think a man should carry himself like a lion. Yeah, the woman might have to cook a little bit. And I'm not saying this in a sexist way. But if there's a food shortage, the man damn sure better get up off his ass and go hunt something. Yeah, the women might have to clean up at the house a little bit more while he chill. But if it came to clearing a forest so you can build some shelter, the man need to do that. Scientifically, I believe that a man should carry himself of the lion. And when it's time to put yourself and your life on the line, you don't even look towards the women, player. It's unspoken. Number 3, socially. And notice how I flip this whole thing. I feel like to be a value man or go about being a good man or what a man, you got to have that spiritual foundation first. Scientifically is next because nature is more pure than us as humans. Nature doesn't get emotions involved, right? So that's why, some of them do, but y'all know what I'm saying. Survival of the fittest, period. Men do the fighting, women do the rebellion. That's just nature, right? Socially is third on my list. For the same reasons that when I gave earlier, because it involves too many opinions of people who aren't the person that it matters to. It is a singular view. Do you think somebody who's been living in the United States in one state for their whole life can possibly pause and be open to the idea of how somebody dates in Europe or Russia, even if it is more effective? No. Hell, it's hard for people to pause and let grandma cut them off in traffic in their Honda Civic. And it varies too much. The social definition I have at the bottom because it doesn't really matter. It's based off of emotion, where spiritual and scientifically is based off of facts in my eyes as a real man. And I think furthermore, socially, I'll take it one further. I always hear people talking about my mom or my dad or my family don't like the person I'm dating. Who the hell cares? They see this person a couple of times a year at these events. They ain't got to wake up to them every day and see they dirty draws and see they toenail clippings and all of that. If you can make it work with that person, you better quit letting other people who are not you get in your decision when we don't know what's going on with behind closed doors in their lives. And even with this Kevin Samuels thing, there's too many spectators, right? Because we talked about spectators previously. You know, those guys who are like 5'11", telling a 7-foot pro how he needs to do his step back jumper, right? It's too many spectators with opinions. Men, it's corny for you to get advice about relationships from a man who is not currently in a successful relationship. That's just logical. Period. Hey, women. I don't see too many happily married, undivorced women who had no children out of wedlock saying anything about Kevin Samuels. They too busy taking care of their family. Furthermore, women, I just got to throw this out here because I can't let y'all pass. What happened to that Megan Thee Stallion thing? And men, and this is for the men too, because I want y'all to see, because these is men rules. I might do a podcast show on that. These is men rules. Sometimes you just got to understand as a man, you got to let them women, feel like they hunt and all of that, and just shut up about it. Because I definitely don't hear nobody speaking up talking about Meg Thee Stallion should be put in jail for costing Tory Lanez millions of dollars. I don't hear nobody saying that now. But I did hear everybody crucify and criticize him. So I'm not saying that to say that I expect people to be that aware, but I take things with a grain of salt. And it's another little man law. Like, you don't have to respond to everything. Like, I'm fully aware that we just swept that Megan Thee Stallion thing under the rug. She about to go to a case that we thought was open and shut and probably get sued for defamation. And here Kevin Samuels is on a social media platform where the most foolish, wild, risky people make the most money. Kim Kardashian, a billionaire off a sex tape. These are facts. The most foolish and most controversial people get the most money. Like, let's just think about that for a second. Let's say, for instance, like I saw somewhere, and this go back to women. Someone said Kevin Samuels died broke, right? Say, for instance, he didn't have no job and YouTube was his only way to eat. It's not too many people out there who, if they were getting, let's just throw a number out there of $150,000 a month for YouTube, I'm pretty sure you don't give a damn what nobody else is saying. You ain't that righteous. You ain't that spiritual. Because if you were, you wouldn't have all these mate problems. You would be judging by a spiritual mate. So I think the overall problem and root cause, and I'm going to end with this, is it's not a male or a female thing. The market is messed up. The market is destroyed because the ways and algorithms that we're using to get our numbers is totally broken. We going from socially to scientifically to spiritually and mixing a whole bunch of emotions in there. But I stand by this as a believer. If you start with spirituality, you already barking up the best tree. So me as a man, I'm going to speak on men. Men, a lot of us aren't men. And if you say a blessing because you got pulled over by the cops or because you about to eat some food or anything or go to a funeral or church or anything, if you have anything type of a belief, we need to get it together and let's not pick and choose. And this is going to be another episode. Let's not pick and choose the Bible and pick it apart to how we like to see it. We don't need to argue with women. They came from our ribs. We're here to provide, protect, and shut up. If they want to argue and gripe sometimes, it's a man law. You just got to take that. Women, you have to realize, and I just know this from my nieces and situations I've been with, people I've dated, and they've had daughters. You probably had a man who was in your life. I don't know what it is, but I think fathers have a harder time, and I don't know, maybe leaving daughters. I would like to think that. You have to realize that because your father was in your life and set that example for you, that's the rarity nowadays. Think about your situation if you have kids. And I'm just saying this respectfully. Is there a male around to guide that kid? We have to stop looking for things illogically, women. If that man was raised by his grandma and his auntie, and he has a daughter or some kids that he don't take care of now, can you really hold him accountable for being a man, or did you misidentify what an actual man was? Dating community as a whole, use that Bible as a hack. Because if you use somebody who's already practicing righteousness and understands the word and a commitment and what it really means to be a man. And ladies, if you're looking for a woman who's a Proverbs 31 woman, right? Go check that out if you don't know what I'm talking about. It's a hack. We have to go about things in a spiritual way. So I'm going to talk about this more on wisdom. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more raw. But I think that overall, when it comes to dating and relationships, another one of the root causes is the love is missing. Like, how can we even talk about a relationship or dating another person when you're not even operating in nothing but maliciousness? And the love is missing when I see young ladies who I know don't mean this say, I'm glad that another person is dead, when we was just talking about Black Lives Matter for black men who did do some things that may have put them in that situation. We'd be the same black women. We'd be the same one talking about black man, I know you got it hard. We all need to practice more love when it comes to relationships. But these are my definitions of what I think it is to be a man. So you can be, what a man, instead of, what, a man? Ladies and gentlemen, episode 417, What a Man. This has been Medicine Ball with your boy LS3. Yo, like, subscribe, share, push through, boss up to my fellas. Mother's Day just passed. I'm calling you out. Step up, be righteous, follow that spiritual Bible. Ladies, cut these dudes some slack. All of y'all, ELE, everybody love everybody. Until next week, like, subscribe, share, follow. I love y'all. Stay up. Yeah.